going to get started here.
All right, we'd like to thank you guys all for coming.
My name's Isabel Garcia, and this is Sophia, and we've been the leaders of the other student representatives, and we've kind of organized this march. It's student-led, so we've done all of And so we just want to thank everybody who's helped us, donated, words of encouragement. We really appreciate it, and we really couldn't have done it without you guys' support, so we just wanted to thank you for that. And so we have two speakers here just to do a few quick remarks before we start.
Hi, I'm Josh Harder. Thank you. I'm out here running for Congress against Jeff Denham. Jeff Denham's somebody who's taken over $50,000 from the NRA. It's no surprise that he's done absolutely nothing to actually support all the reasons we're here. And why are we here? I think we're here because thoughts and prayers are no longer enough. We ought to make sure that instead of just saying good words, that we're actually getting action, right? We are sick and tired of every day waking up, looking at the news, and wondering what that next headline is going to say. After Sandy Hook, after Las Vegas, and now after Parkland, we need to make sure that we have a political leadership, especially in a district like this one, that is reflecting our values here in the Central Valley. And I'm thrilled that this march is so student-led, because the reason and the optimism that I see, is going into our high schools, going into our middle schools, going into our colleges, and seeing the youth and enthusiasm that's happened all across the country. Just last week, there was a special election in Pennsylvania. A Democrat won, Connor Lamb. I don't know if anybody saw it. We saw a Democrat win in Alabama. Who expected a Democrat to win in Alabama? I mean, come on. We've got hundreds and hundreds of volunteers that are out there knocking on doors, making phone calls, all trying to channel the same enthusiasm and support we have right here, and making sure that there's a Democrat in this seat this November. To do that, we need all of your help. We need to go from this march to making sure that we have action here at the ballot box. You can check us out, harderforcongress.com, volunteer. Amen. That's what we're going to do. We're going to try to make it happen, and thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for our students, and I'm excited to be supportive any way I can. Thank you guys. Thank you.
All right, so next we have former school board member running for Congress, Sue Zwollen, who's just going to give a few remarks.
Good morning, everyone, and mainly to our students. Thank you so much for this opportunity to speak to you this morning. I am Sue Zwollen, and I am running for Congress. Not too long ago, I served 2 terms on the Modesto City School Board, where I was so proud to represent these students. I have been an emergency room nurse for over 40 years, and I have 6 children. So I am deeply impacted by what is happening in our country at this time. I appreciate each one of you, and I'm so proud to stand with each one of you today. So many times before, students have been at the forefront of making change, and these students are no different. They are doing the work, they are getting it done, and they're going to make it happen in our country and make the changes that are necessary, and I'm so proud of them. We need to, 1, strengthen background checks. 2, limit the proliferation of assault-type military weapons. 3, raise the age of purchasing these weapons from 18 to 21. Ban bump stocks. Prohibit those on the terrorist watch list from purchasing guns. And allocate more money for mental health programs to identify unstable people who should not have guns. This is not about undoing the Second Amendment. We support the Second Amendment. What it is about is making our schools safe and public spaces safer without infringing on the rights of law-abiding citizens to keep and bear arms. You students, right here and right now, are in a position to make this happen. It's not going to be easy. There is a lot of money behind the opposition. But if you stand up, continue to organize, and vote, you can make it happen. Thank you so much.
So we're just going to do a little rundown of the route we're doing. So we're doing 1.7 miles in honor of the 17 lives that were lost in the Parkland shooting. So just to give a little bit of direction, we're going to be heading down Sycamore, turning right on Griswold, and then turning right on McHenry. We're taking McHenry down to 5 Points, and we're going on to 17th Street, and then we're turning on turning on 15th, and heading back here. So we'll be leading the way. So yeah.
I just wanted to go over a couple of non-violence guidelines with you guys before we start the march to keep this as safe and as peaceful as possible. These are from the Modesto Peace Life Center, so thank you to you guys for that. The non-violence guidelines are: we will not harm anyone, but will be non-violent in words and actions. We will not yell or argue with anyone, but discuss quietly. We will treat every person with respect. We will not damage or deface property. We will not carry any weapons. We will not bring or use any alcohol or drugs other than for medical purposes, and we will not resist arrest. If problems occur, stay calm, be aware of your power to affect others. Assess what is needed in the situation and feel free to ask others for help. If you're with friends, stay together. Discuss possible response ahead of time so you can respond quickly. If one or two individuals are being loud or confrontational, attempt to talk with them calmly. If a small group becomes involved in a violent confrontation with police, move back and create a clear separation. Ask others to join you. Show that you don't support the violence. Remember that it's okay to say how you feel about what's happening. You are invited to wear a white armband or ribbon to show your support for nonviolence. If we want others to join us, if we want to gain allies among the uncommitted, we need to practice nonviolence in a disciplined, organized, and empowering fashion. We need to focus public discussion on the issues. And with that, we'll all gather over here and start the march.
Are you embarrassing your teenager right now? See you back here.
Okie doke.
I'm ASB president at Fire High School.
I'm Simon Carmona. I am ASB treasurer of Enox High School, and I'm one of the representatives.
My name is Stella Baratlis. I am the poet laureate of Modesto, and I'm so thrilled to be invited to speak for a few minutes. I'm going to read a poem. The title of the poem is Statement to be Read at Your Swearing-In Ceremony. And this is looking forward, really a nod to our voters in 2018 and 2020. And I am really looking forward to all of you voting and being active and civically engaged. Statement to be read at your swearing-in ceremony. Despair, I call you to lose the nothings that I have left. I call you already a failure when failing to act. Cognitive dissonance, I call you to detonate in the future. What you know of the dark corners, you know inside the light. Authority, I call you to crumble inside this beauty. Turn the fragmentary into kaleidoscope mosaic. Let your yeah be yeah. Mirror the voices. Unpack the domestic into the world. Repeat verbatim. Inside the DNA are embers waiting to burn. This exists to set fire to the best of our ability. Poets, lovers, and hearts declare the prize moot. Solemnly and informally, you're swearing in inside the world's kitchens and offices where we were already called to struggle with the terms, to serve the powerless and condition ourselves. Mathematician, mother, housewife, teenage, philosopher, waitress, teacher, grandmother, council member, remember the oath. Articulate, speak what is known in this world of words. Learn bodies, live. Margin, ethos of the new grammar. We have already been speaking objective and subjective. I have heard the voices inside the fabric. The body politic is not made of paid crisis actors. Anew, needle the threads. When they call us divine, so help me. Stitch the square when they call us the moon. Please, I do answer in fire. Thank you so much.
Our second speaker, her name is Virginia Medueno. Can we have her up? Can we give her a round of applause?
Good morning, everybody. I am excited. I am excited for a couple of reasons. I'm excited because I am, first and foremost, a proud American, proud to stand with all of these young people today. The young people, the young people, the young people. We have awakened the senses. You are amazing. I'm going to tell you right now, as I take a look at you, as somebody who has lost a loved one to gun violence, I'm going to tell you, I stand with you. I stand with all of you, young, old, brown, white. We are all together. We are all Americans, and we will fight for your justice. We will fight for your justice. As a mother of twins in high school, I'm going to tell you, I fear every single day, will my children be safe? And so this message, making guns less accessible, will help prevent gun violence. You bet we will. I stand with you, and I marched with you, and I'm proud to say I stand right here in solidarity with all of you. Thank you so very much.
At this point, we'd like to honor the victims of the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School shooting. We'll read their names and ages, and then we'll have a moment of silence. So we're going to start off with Alyssa Aladef, 14.
Scott Beagle, 35.
Martin Duke Nguiano, 14.
Nicholas Doret, 17.
Aaron Fays, 37.
Jamie Guttenberg, 14.
Christopher Hickson, 49.
Luke Hoyer, 15.
Kara Lorgan, 14.
Gina Malatio, 14.
Joaquin Oliver, 17.
Elena Petty, 14.
Meadow Polak, 18.
Carmen Schnipper, 16.
Peter Wang, 15.
Helen Ramsey, 17.
Alexander Stacher, 14. Now we'll be having our moment of silence. May they rest in peace and in power. Never again. Never again.
Next, we would like to welcome Amy Lee, a teacher at Lakewood Elementary, to the stage. Can we get her a round of applause?
Good morning. Thank you all for being here to support our students. This outpour of support gives us hope for our goal of keeping our students safe. My name is Amy Lee Irwin, and I am a teacher. When I was growing up in Modesto, my brand new school was built with high windows, not for protection from gunfire, but for protection from the 100-degree plus weather we experienced without air conditioning. When I began my career in education in 1982, my biggest fear for my children and students was walking across the crosswalk safely. These students here today are born after Columbine. They perhaps were not aware of the school shooting at Cleveland Elementary School just 40 miles to the north in Stockton in 1989. As we all gather today with the common goal that something must be done to make this stop. Recently, I engaged in a discussion on gun control with a former high school friend. It got a little ugly, but I politely thanked him for having the discussion regarding guns and told him I would not be in favor of being armed in my classroom. Fortunately, a well-informed friend came to my defense and eloquently wrote a 4-paragraph rebuttal. But the point is, if I wanted to carry a gun, I wouldn't have gone into education. The stunningly absurd idea of arming teachers, as 45 suggests, makes as much sense as building a moat around schools. Armed officers with bulletproof vests are shot and killed in the line of duty all too many times. Arming teachers would prove disastrous. Imagine for a moment a teacher in his or her classroom obtaining the weapon from the cabinet in which it is locked, keeping 34 students quiet and hidden, the teacher nervously unlocking the gun safe, all the while not knowing where the gunman is or whether the gunman is headed in the direction of the classroom. In Maryland last week, the security officer shot and killed the gunman, but a child still died from her wounds. One more senseless killing, one more life taken way too soon. Classrooms in our area were often built and designed with openness in order for teachers to fluidly allow students to gather easily. The curtains we now possess in our classrooms are antiquated. The only walls our government should be building these days are walls to replace those curtains in our classroom to enhance the safety of our students. As the protector of our students here today are asking for the adults for help. They are asking for the right for a safe learning environment. They deserve this and so much more. Arming teachers with guns is not the answer. Here is what we must do. Do your homework. Investigate the politicians running for office who accept contributions from the NRA. Vote for only the politicians who are not backed by the NRA. Use your vote to make a statement. Many of these students will be voting for the first time in their lives. The politicians who are accepting backing from the NRA are the ones who should be scared, not our students attending schools. This movement is about children feeling safe to go to school. It is not about bullying or not bullying. This movement is about changing the right to own a gun versus changing the right to own an assault rifle, which have one sole purpose, and that is to kill people. This isn't the Hunger Games, my friend. This is about keeping assault rifles out of the hands of people whose brains are still developing. It's about helping those who have mental health issues obtain the help they need. These students are our future. I am proud to share the stage with them. These students will not cower to the NRA, and nor should you or I. Stand up for them, stand up with them. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Amy. Next up, we have Jillian Wegner.
Hi, I'm Gillian Wegener, and I am the president of the Modesto Stanislaus Poetry Center, and I typically have a lot to say. This is called Call to Action. Because we are tired of moments of silence that only follow other moments of silence. Because we are tired of waking to hear more awful news, same story, different place. Because we thought this wouldn't keep happening, but we were blind and naive. Because we can't keep explaining these outrages to children. Because we love our fellow humans, and everyone deserves to feel safe. Because flags at half-mast lose their meaning when they are so often at half-mast. Because our hearts are worn down with sadness. Because Peter and Carmen. Because Alex and Helena. Because we've kept waiting for others to make things better, but we have to make things better. Because we need a world where no one is in danger, not at school, not in their backyard, because it is too much. Because Meadow and Elena. Because Joaquin. Because thoughts and prayers are not laws and actions. They do not make change. Because the moments of silence are moments of inaction. Because I am a teacher and I will not carry a gun. Because we can't afford more government inaction. Because Chris and Aaron and Scott. Because Gina. Because not one more life needs to be torn out of existence. Because there is nothing unreasonable about regulating weapons meant for war. Because there is nothing unreasonable about the need to be safe. Because our hearts can't keep carrying these burdens of grief. Because Alyssa and Luke, Martin and Kara, Nicholas and Jamie. Because all those we can't name, and there are too many to name. Because we have to do better, and there is no time left. Because there is no time left. Change is happening now.
I am so proud to introduce the next two speakers right now. They are the strongest girls I know. The first one speaking right now is Sophia Potochnik, junior at Bayer High School.
Hi everyone, I'm Sophia, and as Sarah just said, I'm a student at Bayer High School. I'm 16 years old, I'm outspoken, studious, and I'm often tired. Throughout my time organizing this march, I've been frequently recognized as the granddaughter of Rudy and June Potochnik, who are nearly legendary around Modesto for their nonviolent efforts of peace, both worldwide and here in this community. And I'm honored to be following in their footsteps. We are here today because America is facing a problem, one that is threatening our lives. Today, we marched for our lives, and now we are calling on Congress to take action to save our lives. It's been said before, but I'll say it again. We should not have to learn in fear, and we should not have to live in fear. America's epidemic of mass shootings is growing more and more ominous. 3 of the deadliest mass shootings in American history have happened within the last 6 months. America has more child gun deaths than any other high-income nation. America makes up less than 5% of the world's population, but has 31% of global mass shooters. And mass shootings are not at all the only problem. They only make up a small portion of America's gun deaths. But America can also boast more gun deaths in general than any other developed nation. And yet, nothing has been done here in the U.S. In fact, as a society, we've started to become desensitized to horrific gun violence. Yeah, there was another school shooting today. Did you hear about the shooting yesterday? These abhorrent words roll off our tongues easily and calmly. That is not right. This is not a world that I want to live in. Thoughts and prayers are not enough. There are over 800 marches happening today across the U.S. Our collective voice can be heard loud and clear. We don't want your thoughts and prayers. We want change. Many people have asked me what makes this time different. Why this school shooting? Why is Parkland specifically our chance to change gun policy? I think Americans are truly tired of these unnecessary deaths, and luckily an amazing group of people, teenagers, happened to step up and lead our tired nation in the right direction. The kids and staff of Marjory Stoneman Douglas absolutely should not have had to die for change to be enacted. But now the very least we can do is honor their memory and ensure that they did not die in vain. We will make change. Many people say they need guns to defend themselves. Unfortunately, some are even saying that teachers need guns to protect their classrooms. I shudder at the thought of having a firearm in any of my classrooms. If it is easily accessible to the teacher who's supposed to use it, then it is easily accessible to students. I respect and understand wanting to be safe and wanting your families to be safe, but the answer to gun violence is not more guns. If you think our world is such a dangerous place that you need to carry a firearm with you at all times, wouldn't you rather do something to change the unsafe environment you live in instead of having to defend yourself all the time? Our schools should be safe places. Children do not deserve to be doing active shooter drills, and teachers do not deserve to be acting as defensive security guards. Since 2013, there have been more than 300 school shootings in the U.S. That's an average about 1 per week. I think, and I hope you agree, that the students of America are more valuable than the guns of America. We are the future of this nation. What will happen if we're killed off? What's terrifying to think about is that any of our schools could be next. We have no way of predicting where the next tragedy will occur. The night of the Parkland shooting, I watched a video filmed inside the school. Students were sobbing and running past limp bodies lying in the hallways. I realized that it easily could have been my school, and it could have been my friends lying there. That night, I sat and I cried with my mom for a long time. I didn't want to go to school the next day. Someone dropped a binder in one of my classes, and I just about flew out of my chair. I decided that I needed to do something to affect change myself. I learned about the March for Our Lives and the National School Walkouts on social media, and soon I was connected with Isabel, my co-organizer for this march, and the other 11 teens who are leading walkouts all across this area. Isabel, I'm so proud to have worked with you to accomplish all of this, and I'm so lucky to have you as a new friend. I'd also like to thank the Modesto Police Department and the City of Modesto for being so helpful and so kind to me throughout the permit process, the Modesto Bee for interviewing Isabel and I, and the Modesto Peace Life Center especially for letting us operate under its insurance and 501c3 certificate. I'd also like to let everyone know that this Wednesday, March 28th, the Modesto Peace Life Center will be hosting a vigil outside of Dick's Sporting Goods to thank the company for stopping its sales of AR-15s, high-capacity magazines, and other accessories used with similar weapons, as well as raising the minimum age for all gun sales to 21. Again, that's this Wednesday, March 28th. I'd like to thank all our speakers and all who donated money, and most importantly, all of you in attendance today. Together we can and we will make a difference. This is not a partisan or political issue. There can't be two sides to wanting to protect our nation's children. We want legislation, and we want it now. Any step towards our safety is a step in the right direction. How many more? Ladies and gentlemen, I say no more. We say never again. Enough is enough. My name is Sophia Potocznik. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. We have one more speaker, the organizer, the main person of this, the smart and amazing person that is funding this, Isabel Garcia.
The first memory I have of a school shooting was when I was in the 6th grade, when I heard about Sandy Hook. I was riding in the backseat of my grandparents' car coming from home. They told me not to look at the news. Of course, my curiosity piqued, and when I got home, I went on my phone. I read news articles after news articles, watched video after video, and what I saw is something that will stay with me for the rest of my life. 27 people had died, 20 children, innocent children, kindergartners and first graders, kids the same age as my little sister had been unjustly murdered. 20. And I cried. I couldn't understand why. I couldn't fathom how someone could do such a thing. Little did I know that this would not be the last. These school shootings have been going on since the beginning of my life, but Sandy Hook was the first time I fully understand what had happened. Thank you for coming today and taking part in this historical event. I would like to thank those who have helped us plan this march, whether that be through donations, assistance, or words of encouragement. Without you, we would not have been able to make this possible. Today is a day that will go down in history. Today, across the nation, millions of mothers, fathers, grandparents, students, and teachers are marching alongside one another in their local communities. 844 marches are happening nationwide. And the reason? Our lives. My life began in 2001, 2 years after the Columbine shooting. Since then, 187,000 students have been exposed to gun violence. Gun violence in the United States is like no other, so much that it has become almost normal to look on the news and see another shooting. So normal that unless more than a handful of people die, it gets any real news. So normal that when it happens, people say again, express their thoughts and prayers, and move on. Well, not anymore. The leadership of the Parkland students have inspired millions of young people across the country to say enough. We are the generation that has grown up doing active shooter drills, and we are tired of it. Enough. We are the generation that goes to school each day hoping that a shooting doesn't happen at our school. Enough. We are the generation that watches live videos and social media posts of shootings that happen. Enough. We are the generation that watches all our politicians introduce bills to regulate practically everything that poses a threat to public safety except guns. Enough. In 2017, our very own Jeff Dennon sponsored a bill, H.R. 1818, called the Big Cat Public Safety Act. This bill was proposed to prohibit any person from breeding or possessing prohibited wildlife species such as lions, tigers, leopards, cheetahs, jaguars, or cougars. Really? Who feels unsafe because their neighborhood has a cheetah? I'll tell you who. No one! Our representative can stand behind regulating our ability to have a cheetah, but he does nothing to support the regulation of guns that kill more people in this country than neighborhood deaths. Enough! So when people say that now is the time to talk about gun control, so when people say that now is not the time to talk about gun control, I say the time is now. Now is the time to pre-register. Now is the time to raise your voice. And whether or not the Capitol will want to listen, they will hear it. They will hear our chants. They will see our signs, because now they see us. And will continue to see us until we see change. Until I can go into a movie theater and not have to worry about my life ending. Until I can walk down the street at night and not worry about somebody driving by and shooting me. Until I can go to school and pursue my right to get an education and not flinch every time I hear a loud noise. To not worry that saying goodbye to my parents in the morning before school could be my last. To not worry that my life and the life of my peers will be cut short by the sound of a bullet. The time is now. The time for gun control is now. The time for everyone to care about mental health is now. The time to vote is now. Elections are this November, and if you haven't registered or pre-registered to vote, we have tables outside where you can. Now is the time for action. Students, we are the future of this country, and we must safeguard our future. Thank you.
We really appreciate all of you marching with us today. Thank you so much.
We have a place where you can write letters to representatives over there, and we have voting registration over there, and all sorts of other cool things. Modesto Peace Life Center is here. Brady Campaign Against Gun Violence is here. Go check it out if you're not afraid of the rain.
Thank you.